Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with our returning guest, Chris from Bent Box Comics. We have our good friend Blaine right off the rip, commenting about how crazy the art is. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to be diving into that and some of the interiors in just a small bit. But Chris, before we dive in too deep, what's been up since last time you've been on?
I've been very busy. It's been nonstop, but yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been on. You're looking great.
You're looking great too. That beard is luscious.
Thank you.
What are you using product, or are you just combing it?
It's just testosterone.
Just man shit. Man shit. I get it.
But no. I'm similar though. I've been following your progress. I've been working out a lot, trying to get a good work balance life going, which is kind of crazy when it comes to making comics, working a 9 to 5, staying healthy. So I've been I've been tracking you. You're killing it, man. I'm down.
You're making me blush.
275, I think, was how much I weighed the last time I was on your show. I'm down to 210.
Let's fucking go, dude.
Probably gonna be floating around there.
Let's go.
It's been fun. Yeah, just been busy.
When I was interviewing all the time, I remember we were talking, backstage about it. I would be door dashing McDonald's at 12 at night, because I wouldn't eat all day. And then, dude, every single night. And dude, I shot up to 210. In high school, I wrestled 145 to give you an idea of the weight difference there. You know what I mean? So, and it's as soon as I, started taking care of myself, I dropped down to 150, and then I started lifting like crazy, and I'm up to 180. And it's now I'm plateauing. I can't get any more. And it's I just want to,
I mean, you're looking good. You're killing it. I'm honestly feeling pretty content. I don't have body dysmorphia yet. I'm not like my partner, John. I hope he sees this, but I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. But anyway,
it's rough. It's rough. It's rough. So what is also fun, Artificial issue number 2. We had a chance to read it. I read there's 2 different versions of this, correct?
Yes, sir. Each one will have, or every issue, that's kind of our plan. If you followed Artificial 1's campaign or backed it or got it after the fact, you'll see a standard edition and a propaganda edition. That's the plan. That's kind of our way of offering you 2 different covers. Is we're actually changing the interior as well. It's not just a pretty picture on the front.
It's pretty insane.
You're getting 2 different comics, basically. Same story, but the art's different on the interior. So
and it's insane. Because Blaine was saying earlier, the art is incredible, but the propaganda version grays out a majority of the page, and it's just the colors that emphasize things are just what's shown, and it's such a surreal feeling. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I've seen many people do that. What was the inspiration for that?
So I love Sin City. There's always been this thing about of muted colors, just black and white in general, or gray tones. Then you have blood is red, and it's just this really cool artistic effect that I've always been attracted to. And it kind of came out of for Artificial 1, we were seeing a lot of people offering a black and white version of their comics. You know what I mean? That was my first comic, was Artificial 1. This is my Artificial 2 is my second one, so I'm still pretty green in all this. But I wanted to offer, the normal amount of offerings. So I was like, well, let's make a black and white version. It shouldn't be that hard. In fact, that was the conversation I had with my artist, Gabriel, at the time, where I'm like, just, Photoshop, desaturate everything, and then just save the image. I was like, easy. As we started going through the comic, I was like, this almost feels too easy. I was like, what if we added a splash of color on each page? And my artist, Gabriel, bless his heart. But I love him. He's down for everything. And he just loves comics in general, to the point where we tested it out on one of the pages on Artificial 1, and it just looked awesome. We're like, let's pick something on this page that we want to emphasize more than everything else. And, we picked a Van Gogh styled panel where you could see the lights and the sky, the night sky, kind of that starry night view. Just colorize that. Everything else was grayscale. And we literally just sat there. We're like, all right, this is it. Let's do it for the rest of the comic. So we spent a lot of time picking. We literally have a couple days worth of meetings going like this specific panel, this part of this panel colored, everything else grayscale, and then we just kind of do
and
that.
it's like detailed too, because there's like parts where it's just like you sometimes have to look. Like there was a part where Vincent did a handshake, and after the handshake it's like the subtle redness. I caught that, just to let you know, all the little Easter eggs and little tidbits in this. Like I noticed it, and it was such a nice subtle touch that I think a lot of eagle-eyed readers are going to appreciate.
I hope so. Yeah, that's kind of what we were doing. We're there specifically to your point. There's a page, since you read it. Thank you. Towards the end, Van Gogh kind of mouse off a bit. Let me just say that. And Marie Cassatt has a reaction to it that's kind of comedic, but it can be lost in the panel because Van Gogh's so in the foreground, or in the right in the front. So that page specifically, I said, let's make everything grayscale except for Cassatt. I was like, I want people to read it and follow, but I really like her reaction to what Vinny's saying. So I was like, just make her colored. And so it was kind of cool.
When you did issue 1 and you guys had the idea to do this like variant issue, like it's not even a variant cover, it's like a variant issue. Did that change your writing or your approach in any way for the second issue? Like, did you plan out panels to have it kind of be centered for that propaganda edition?
So as I'm writing, I don't necessarily plan too much artistically. I had, when we discussed this, when I was on your show last time, I sometimes call myself a lazy writer when it comes to descriptions of the panels. I know what I want to happen from point A to point B, the camera angles, all that stuff. But I've mentioned this before. Gabriel is such a genius. Like, I'm so thankful I found him. He's a diamond in the rough. He's going to be working for the big two in no time and leave me in the dust. It's going to be sad, but it's inevitable. But he is so good that I literally just said, like, okay, this is kind of the vibe I want for this page. Have fun. Was the majority of my notes for him were just like, do what you do. You are an insanely talented artist. You know comics in and out. You can elevate any of my panels, and he does every time. And so as I write, the only thing that did change when it came to the propaganda edition was I did, once we got some colors in that were kind of matching my writing, and I was really liking the vibe that we were getting, I did kind of have a forethought of like, okay, that specific panel will definitely be colored in the propaganda edition. So like I was thinking about it as we're going, and then obviously once we have like it completed, the standard edition done, we have the true vision of the regular version is just set, then we kind of just have fun with the propaganda edition. That's more of like a just let's mess around thing.
So we have John actually did join us, saying, "Whoa, bro, I have creator dysmorphia." I feel that like body dysmorphia like can be something like that too, where you're not always feeling good about your work. Like you always,
for sure.
I just started writing scripts, and my first script I came out with, I felt like was a banger. A lot of people read it and were really surprised it was my first one. Amy Chu helped me edit it from the Joe Kubert School, and wow. It's been so hard to do another script after that, because it's like, is it going to live up to this? Is it going to be as good as this one? And it's I don't know I don't know what to do to get past that.
You just keep writing, man. I mean, I agree, because Artificial One was my first comic. It didn't do amazing when it comes to like the Kickstarter, but then again, we were very, we weren't very well known. We weren't marketing very well. I was still new to the game, but it got a lot of like good feedback. Everyone said they really enjoyed Artificial One, which then just made me go, crap, I gotta do that again, or I have to make sure it's okay, I guess. So as I'm writing Artificial 2, it was probably an odd amount of it was not imposter syndrome, which was weird. I actually fully believe Artificial 2 kicks the crap out of Artificial 1, and we really figured out like a stride and how the story's going to progress and the characters are going to interact, and I'm really happy with Artificial 2 and how it turned out. Artificial 3, I'm getting some imposter syndrome because I'm so happy with Artificial 2, even though we don't have like a ton of reviews, or like you're saying you like it and other people are saying they like it that I've shown. just because I don't really have any feedback yet. I just finished Artificial 3 writing it, and I'm like, oh man, I hope this is good. I think it is, but that one I'm struggling with because I'm just so happy with this one that's out right now.
I would be curious to see what some of the scripts look like for issue 2. I mean, because issue 1 was really good, don't get me wrong, but I felt like it was more grounded in the real world without spoiling too much. I don't know how to really explain it, but like the second issue, the visuals and just the detail, I don't even know how you would begin to even try to script like what it is. It's insane.
That's why I tell Gabriel to have fun. Like the bubble page where they get transported to the different dimension. Small spoiler. I literally give a very vague description of what I want. Top of the rooftop, glowy bubble. I literally reference Halo 3's bubble shield as like a vague reference of like what I want the aesthetic to look like. So like I'm giving him vague little things, but it's only because I literally just like put my words in his hands and go like, just do the thing, bro. And he does it.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. So that's how my script's pretty bare bones. I'm not gonna lie.
It's insane.
But it's only because
what would you
Gabriel's
call
so
it? What would you call that? Like the holographic looking stuff.
I mean, we do have a name for it. There's a lore name for it that has not yet been revealed.
Okay, all right.
So there you go. It's the glowy bits. You'll
insane.
find out when you read it.
And maybe it was because I was reading the propaganda version that it was so much more just like stuck out and was like it was how abstract it was against like the grayness. Just was like gorgeous for real.
Awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, those the pages you're referencing were the easiest ones to do for the propaganda, because it was literally we'd turn it and be like, obviously the AI bots. I mean, that's not the real name for them, but I'm like, just make the entirety of those colored, everything else grayscale. Let's see what it looks like. We did it. I'm like, man, that looks pretty wild. I like it. And also, to your point though, real fast, when you said scripting it, we do have a rule at the Artificial team of the rule of cool. And this was something like coined by Gabriel and myself, where there are so many times where we would do something where the lighting doesn't make sense artistically. Like the proportions are a little off, and we would say, but does it look cool? And if the answer was yes, we keep it. And so that has been our rule for this comic, which I think has helped it stay a little more fresh and a little less grounded than Artificial 1, but I'm hoping in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I had such a blast with this as well. I felt like the transition from issue 1 to issue 2 was pretty flawless. Can you give us a recap of what Artificial is and what we can expect with issue 2?
Yes, Artificial is a love letter to human creativity, is my personal little tagline I have in the back of my head as I write it. It's about Vincent van Gogh being called from the past to help rise up against our AI overlords in a post-apocalyptic AI hellscape, where basically AI has taken over. It's not the most original premise in the book, and in the world, except for obviously like the traditional artist aspect, because we're all kind of AI's kind of on our minds right now. But I really took to this idea with the whole mid-journey and everything like that's been going on with AI art, and how there's been a bit of a hubbub about it. Most people have already seen that. Just kind of seeing or projecting what would happen if in the future there's no art, there's no creativity, there's no reason to create, there's no reason to be free or express yourself, or and what would it take to save us from that? And I just basically put some of my favorite creatives in there, and in a fish out of water kind of idea, because obviously I didn't want to pick anyone modern who would have any familiarity with AI. I wanted to pick your, Vincent van Gogh. So issue 1 starts with Vincent van Gogh. You get quickly introduced to Marie Cassatt and Leonardo da Vinci at the end of the book. Those are our 3 protagonists, and they kind of carry throughout the rest of the series. Marie Cassatt, if no one's very familiar with her, she's a contemporary of Vincent van Gogh. So there's I did that on purpose. That way there was a little bit of back and forth with them that would make sense, and it would make the writing easier when it came to them interacting. And then Leonardo da Vinci is kind of your crazy uncle. That's just how I'm writing him right now, and it's more
insane,
fun.
by the way.
It's just fun. He's a lot of the comedic timing and comedic relief, and in issue 3 he's going to be a lot more of the comedic relief. So it's been so much fun writing Leonardo da Vinci. He's one of my favorites.
It's awesome to hear he's about to become more unhinged, because like my first initial impression was like, Jesus Christ, this dude's crazy. Like, was he really like that? Or
I mean, I'm sure, dude, the amount of things he invented and the amount of research I put into this book, which I don't know how many other people do this. I've been enjoying researching the characters because they aren't from scratch characters. Thankfully, I'm able to kind of interpret them in my own way, play around with their personalities. Marika Sott wasn't necessarily this Southern Belle type, quick talking chick. She was more regal and proper. But I'm having a little fun with the character. So like those are the creative liberties I'm taking. Otherwise, I'm doing an insane amount of research, making sure time makes sense, lingo makes sense, the words she's using are popular in her time period. Same with Leo and Da Vinci.
And I think you do a really good job.
Well, like, I appreciate it. I'm trying.
Not to interrupt, but like the way you go about doing it, like their the way they talk from their time periods and the confusion it causes with each other, because like they're from different time eras. I thought you really hit it.
Good. I appreciate it. And then it's like a weird balance of also being able to put in your and your likes and like little modern things that we're so used to reading. That way it helps it almost flow in our heads. There is a balance to that, because you want to make sure that the reader in a modern age reads Vincent van Gogh's words in a way that makes sense to them, but also with little bits of time periodness, if that makes sense. That way his, what makes Vinny is still there, but it's easy to read. So that's kind of the balance I'm trying to hit. But yeah, as far as Leo goes, the amount of stuff he created and invented, he had to be a little batty, a little nutty, a little bit. So we're just making that little bit a lot of bit.
We have John saying Leo's my favorite character, totally unhinged in the best way. Yeah, I loved just kind of how he was spotlit, like during some of the scenes within this. Another thing I really liked was your explanation earlier, how you said AI, and how it takes away the human creativity. And it really got me thinking about, that's kind of what gets us through our 9 to 5, right? Is like the idea of going home and creating, and what type of world that would be in the future if we took that away and without the need. It reminds me of like WALL-E almost.
A little bit, yeah. Like I said, I mean, I will be frank, it's not the most original concept. There's definitely that idea.
Not that,
just but there's that idea of like when humanity doesn't really have anything to live for, really, or like create or passion or freedom to do so or reason to do so. It's just, it inevitably in almost every version of literature or creative works out there is shown as a bad thing. It's never like, oh, humanity really prospered thanks to just, white and black gray suits and just being, whatever. That never is shown, except for Star Trek a little bit.
It's really weird. It's like getting what you want. Like when you have to work for what you want, like you enjoy the fruits of your labor for it. But when you just get what you want constantly, it takes away that gratification. And it's so weird. Like I would love to be a millionaire, but I would hate to see what it would do to me as a person.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
If I didn't have to work anymore and
I'm willing to test it. Hey, if anyone, I'm willing to test it. If anyone wants to throw me $1 million, we'll do an experiment. We'll see how I am. If I'm still cool, then I'll just keep it.
Yeah.
If I'm being bad, take it back.
And speaking of that, let's go ahead. We're going to pull up the Kickstarter. Throw some money at the Kickstarter while you're at it. We could be. Hopefully someone that was watching is paying attention.
I have not looked at it yet. I literally went live and took off all my notifications just to stay a little fresh.
What a brave man. You're at 302, so congratulations on that. Almost funded. Cool. Almost funded. So everyone watching, right here is the link. Be sure to check it out with us if you're able to back. We would love to see it, but simply putting this on Facebook and Twitter works just as much. Word of mouth is free, and letting a friend know about it helps just as much. So holy crap, almost funded. Congratulations on that. We're going to check out some of these covers. Right here is the standard, and this is gorgeous. We have our trio right here. What's this little bubble?
So we went kind of artsy fartsy with the first one. I don't know if you've noticed, we've been kind of doing a lot of homages in this series so far. Once again, the love letter to human creativity is actually a pretty important part of creating this series. The amount of classical works that we have in Artificial 2 is insane. Almost one per page. Like almost every page has some callback to a classical art piece or something. Has been so much fun to do. This is more modern, but I don't know if you're familiar with it, but one of my favorite movies is Moon. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh man, it's so good. You have to check it out. Highly recommend it. It's slightly smaller. It's not. It's Sam Rockwell, who's one of my favorite actors. Fantastic movie. There's a piece of that movie that will come into play in issue 3. Basically, everything has a purpose. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. So like, there's a piece of that movie that's going to come in issue 3, which I can't wait for. The circle behind them is, well, it's kind of a spoiler, actually. That's kind of the thing. If you read it, which I know you said you did, there's a couple of pages in there where you'll notice a glowing orb, and this is basically what that glowing orb is. It's just on the front cover. We're just not really giving you a lot of information about that yet.
It looks so crazy. It's like a fingerprint almost.
Yeah. All will be revealed.
So cool. And then we have the variant where most of the issue is in grayscale. Is that the correct terminology for grayscale, or is it like?
Yeah, grayscale is probably the best one. Yeah.
And this gives you a good idea of what the interiors look like. Where there's just subtle hints of colors, and most of it's just gray. And I just love just the splashes of colors and where you chose. And I think there's actually some panels down below that we could see the kind of comparison.
Yeah. Oh, that cover, by the way, once again, like I keep saying, we're doing a lot of homages. If anyone enjoys classical art, there's a painting called The Son of Adam. That is a direct, basically, pull is from this. You've probably seen it in passing. It's the guy with like a bowler hat and an apple in front of his face, a red apple. It's just a classical painting. So we kind of, once again, went with an homage for that cover.
We have Dr. Hino 419 on YouTube. Holy cow, I caught a show finally. Thank you for joining us. I know my schedule's been kind of rough. I took a couple, like a week off at least. I've been writing my own scripts, so stay tuned for that on Twitter, guys. Now, these interiors are so gorgeous. What the hell is this creature? What's going on here?
Okay, so that's one of the AI zombies. That is actually, so this is a good, I wanted to make sure that was a focus. Once we get down to the rewards, I can always do a callback to it. This was the proud owner of an Indiegogo reward that we had for our Second Chance campaign for issue 1, or you could put yourself in the comic. So a guy actually bought that and asked to put his teenage son in the comic.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so that is his teenage son. We didn't want him to be some dude in the crowd. I was like, let's just put him front and center with a nice little cool, like, a horde behind him, and just make sure he is full and center. So this is kind of the vibe you're going to get, because we have another tier like that. So if you want to purchase that, you're going to be in the comic.
And then this just gives you an idea of how like insane these interiors are and what to expect from this series. I loved this scene in particular, and right here's the propaganda edition. So this is what I read, and right away you could just tell how like insane this experience is, like, just to kind of give you a visual of like the absence of the colors. I don't know, I'm curious on what it would have been like to read the standard edition first, like what my first time impression would have been like this was like I don't know how to it like felt like such a daunting world, almost like with everything being like grayscale, and then just like the little splashes of colors. Like it was insane. But like right here is so crazy. I love this whole thing right here. Even the characters are
one
gray,
of my favorite pages.
And just this is like colored.
Yeah, it turned out so good.
Oh man, this is so gorgeous. And like right here, like their speech bubbles are colored, which I'm a big fan of. The lettering is so good with this. But like just like this, Computer goo. I don't know what to call it. What is this? This is insane looking. It's gorgeous.
He doesn't have a name yet, but or it doesn't have a name yet, but it will have a name.
So let's check out some of these rewards. We have the standard edition physical at $10, the propaganda at $10 as well, the collector's bundle, which will get you both copies, at $20. We have the enhanced bundle at $200. What's this tier going to include?
So that, as it says, is literally every add-on which aren't necessarily represented here. You'd obviously have to select a tier and get that, but we have a sticker pack with some really fun stickers from the comic. We have a collectible pin, enamel pin. We have a t-shirt. We have a really cool, well, actually, you've read it. So the one page towards the end of Vinny's vision, it's a spoiler, obviously, so I won't describe it much more. But if you saw that one, it is a poster of that.
Okay.
So that's why you can see it's kind of like tweaked a bit, so you can't actually see it with the big spoilers on the front. But you're basically going to get everything we have available, including your face in the next issue. There's only 10 available because I have a section written out already to allow for a decent amount of people to be in the comic and not just, once again, faces in the crowd, but actually, well, front and center. So that's the big boy right there.
Very cool. And let's go ahead and give a shout out to the creative team as well.
Shout out to me, yay!
Shout out Chris.
That's me. Yep, that's my face. And then there's Gabriel, who is one of the driving forces behind this comic. He's from Brazil, insanely talented, young guy who's just I can't praise him enough, and it makes him blush every time, which makes me happy. I enjoy it. I tell him every time. So the next gentleman that you'll see here is Sergio Martinez. He is new to the team. If you recall, Artificial One was done completely by Gabriel. He did inks, colors, letters. Admittedly, it's a lot. So he kind of said, he's like, if we're going to make this more of a, if we're going to do this thing, let's hire a full-time colorist. So I found Sergio from Mexico, insanely talented once again. Also has so much, a wealth of knowledge of pop culture and anime and just everything. So it's really cool being able to pick their brains and being like, what can we focus on this page, or what reference could we throw in here? And he'll throw out a really cool reference. So Sergio did the colors in this one. That's why you'll see that they are a little different. They're more vivid. They're more vibrant. They have a better depth to them. I tried to not really do such a huge difference from issue one. I didn't want it to be like a whiplash situation, but I do think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that is definitely a step up from issue one, having a dedicated colorist, even though Gabriel killed it. But yeah, that's our color. So that's our team, just 3 people. Gabriel is still doing inks, or he's doing inks and letters. So that's the team. Just some fun little reviews. Some people said nice things.
All right.
That's
so
it.
right there's the campaign in its entirety. Everyone watching, right here is a link, and you know the drill. Be sure to back if you're able to back, and if not, put that on Facebook and Twitter, because word of mouth costs you absolutely nothing. Chris, for anyone who's on the fence about backing, what would you like to say to them to help push them over that hump?
Get off the fence. It's fun. I think you'll really enjoy it. If you're buying comics just for the art, you'll love it. If you want a fun, cool story, you'll love it. If you want both, you'll like it. You'll love it. Just get it. And it's not that expensive. And it's ready, by the way. It's done. I really wish I had you with a physical copy. I already messaged him before this meeting. I was planning to have a physical copy to him, but the printer got delayed. But the comic's done. I'm literally having the printed copies delivered to my house this week.
Oh, so exciting.
No issue with the comic. As soon as it's done being funded, you get your copy.
So you've been on the show, you know the drill. We always love asking for a piece of advice and then what you're up to outside of creating. So for anyone looking at creating an ongoing series, what would you say the most important part of the foundation would be?
That's a good question. I don't remember what I said originally, but it's probably something similar. A lot of times I find myself just not doing it. Like that. It's basically just do it. I'm Nike. Nike's wise. But there is an aspect to or there is some wisdom to just doing something, even if you're not 100% sure about it, you're not sold on the idea even yourself, or you're not sure how to begin. Feel free to research and try and figure out how to begin. But honestly, just beginning is a massive hurdle in of itself. So like if you're like, man, I kind of want to make a comic. I don't want to overstep my bounds. It's not that hard. Obviously, finding a really good team. There are some aspects to it that are challenging, but it's a very accessible medium. So, you know, it's kind of just doing it. Right. If you're a writer, write. And even if your stuff's crap, which mine was for a lot of it, just rewrite. You know what I mean? Put it away. I kind of honestly like, there's a couple of screenwriters that I enjoy watching their movies and reading their thoughts on this. And they say they'll write a script, put it away, revisit it in a year, and then rewrite the whole thing. So like, you know, it's kind of just do it. It's going to be garbage more than likely, but that's okay.
You got to have the garbage to get the gems. You got to
you got to do it. Put in the work.
So what are you up to outside of writing comics? What video games are you playing? What books are you reading? What TV shows are you watching? I know you were talking about Fallout. Did you finish it?
No, we just finished episode 6. It was fantastic. And my wife's killing me right now. She's like, finish your live stream. I was like, honey, this is important. But she's like, finish it so we can do episode 7. So I'm going to go do that right after this. But as far as games, man, I've been so out of it. I revisit, thanks to Fallout, I've been replaying Fallout 4, which has been fun. But I haven't had any time for anything, honestly. Which is kind of the ironic part about all this, is that's some of my passions are gaming. And this is taking away from that a little bit, but I am enjoying making comics so much and just putting my whole heart into it. But yeah, so I'm not playing very many games, unfortunately. Watching Fallout. Honestly, I'm just making comics. That's literally what I'm doing right now. We're prepping for a huge con in Miami this weekend, a Taku Fest. If anyone's in Southwest Florida and Miami, I hope to see you there. It would be a lot of fun. But like, that's a 3-day con with like 100 and some thousand people supposedly supposed to show up.
Oh wow!
And it's our biggest one yet. And
are you tabling?
We're prepping for that. Yeah, we're.
Congratulations! That's awesome, man.
So that's what we've been doing, actually. Taking up a little more time from you, but that's what we've been kind of trying to do. We've been doing. We've had, I think, 4 or 5 cons so far. All of them have been one day, but they've gone fairly well, and it's been a lot of fun. And that's kind of how we're kind of hitting the ground running, putting in the groundwork. And this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the big boy. So
let's go.
A huge con, and I'm a little nervous, but I'm very excited. So anyway, that's where we'll be, and that's what I've been focusing on. I've been very busy.
So everyone watching right here for the last time is the link to back. And if you can't back, put that on Facebook and Twitter, because word of mouth costs you absolutely nothing. This has been an awesome chat, Chris. I love getting you back on. Can't wait to get you on for Artificial Issue 3. You guys can make it happen by backing today. With that being said, it is time for us to wrap up. I hope you all had a fantastic Mother's Day. To all the mothers out there, hope you all had an awesome day. But most importantly, everyone, keep it geekly.